Good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. And look who's in the house. We are broadcasting together. How about that? So welcome. I am one half of the dynamic duo. I am the Badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco. I am your authenticity teacher, speaker, and coach. I am your chiropractic physician. I am your fat eviction specialist. And welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche, where we're both filming from Southern Connecticut. I forgot what I was talking about for a second.
About you.
I was
Buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. And yes, we are finally together, broadcasting together, which is very exciting.
Yes.
That I even got up extra earlier today just to make sure that I got here on time.
And she was on time.
I'm getting better. Carmen Nieves, I'm getting better. So I am your spiritual and creative healing life coach.
You almost forgot.
I am your writer, your artist. I am your notary, your wedding officiant. I am your ordained minister, believe it or not. I am the gladiator guru, and welcome, bienvenidos a Viva Cafe con Leche today, this beautiful Tuesday morning.
Why am I not seeing us on here? Is anybody seeing us live?
Yeah.
Oh, why am I not catching us?
So,
let me.
Luis Sanchez. Buenos dias.
But I think that's an old one. I can't seem to get it off the thing. So see, that says PM. Oh no, he did it already. Politically correct. Oh, it looks like he was commenting on the oh my God, can I speak today? Maybe when it was posted. I don't know. Political correctness is fascism pretending to have manners.
George Carlin. I saw that one, and it's right. You know, we're going to go into that. But Linda McBee, buenos dias. Tiffany Bryan, my beautiful sister Janet, Liza. We got to set a date for coffee before I go back home.
Yes, for sure.
So, yes, buenos dias, mi gente. Because it's a beautiful morning.
I would like to say what we're drinking this morning, but I don't remember. Hers is half of something.
Mine's is half of Café Bustelo and half of what she doesn't remember. Salud.
It's like Cafe Azul or something like that. I don't remember what I bought.
It's not bad.
Oh no, it's not. I ran out of that stuff. It's Wicked Joe's. It's Wicked Joe's coffee, but it's the not the decaf. It's the organic. Wicked Joe's has like a bunch of different flavors, but it's regular today, and it's the organic stuff, which actually has a little bit less of a bitter taste than the regular stuff that I've noticed. But I also put the little stuff you always tell me to put, the salt and to put the you know what else I put? I put garam masala. It's a Indian spice.
Okay, because it sounded very foreign to me just now. So good morning, my beautiful sister Connie, and my granddaughter's on. Look, and good morning to you both, Anaya Torres. Mwah. Desiree, nice to see you together. Gracias. Dios te bendiga, Anaya. Good morning, Lillian.
So I'm going to type in everybody's good mornings, and you're going to have to read them to me because I can't do my glasses. I can't see. No, it's okay. I could read who's here. But you, as people pop in, you let me know. For some odd reason,
Mátame, Kimberly's on.
I can't get on to on this one.
Not even on Viva?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell the problem is.
Well, Linda, we put a pinch of salt just to take the bitterness, because let me give you guys a little rundown. By the time you buy the coffee off the shelves in the grocery store, it is about 3 months old. So you're not really tasting the beauty of the coffee bean being roasted, and when you brew it, and you're not getting what you get in the coffee shops, because the coffee shops have freshly roasted beans that then they grind at your request, where the ones we buy in the store son viejo. It's old. It's already lost all its essence, and we're just tasting the last remaining flavor that's added with bitterness. So a pinch of salt. I personally add clove powder or actual cloves to my coffee grounds. And I still do it the old school way. I boil my water, I pour it into my over the coffee ground, and then I'm stirring the coffee ground as the hot water is pouring over it. But freshly roasted coffee is like your first orgasm that you're constantly trying to chase, and then you have fun doing it. That's what freshly roasted coffee tastes like. So hopefully you will all be blessed to have a bag of freshly roasted coffee. But yeah, yes, Michelle Houston, it is I here with the badass Buddha.
Oh, speaking of Michelle, so I posted it on the Viva page to keep voting for Jeffrey. So make sure that you go onto the page and just scroll down and look for the beautiful gray pit bull's face and vote for Jeffrey, because we're still doing voting for him, and he's such a deserving dog because he's an amazing rescue. I mean, he's like the epitome of what, you know, this is what why people should go to rescues, because you can get some amazing animals from rescue organizations.
No, and Jeffrey's brother is adorable, Michelle. That ad was perfect. Michelle said we have to switch seats because her day is thrown off.
I don't want to switch seats because that's my bad side.
Good morning, Iritza. And my granddaughter says her and her orgasms.
Isn't that nice to hear that from your granddaughter?
And my granddaughter, because you grind your own beans. Linda, that is fantabulous. That is the best gift you can give yourself after your morning meditation, because it does make a world of difference.
And I'm going to tell you too that, Linda, that I started to put the salt in my coffee, and it has really made a difference. It's like dumbfounding to me how it takes away the bitterness. That's always been my issue with coffee. As a lot of people, I guess, some people really love the coffee, just like they can drink it black. And we've had this conversation. We're not fans, you know, like, but we know that we drink it whenever we're doing our, the weight loss program or whatever. So, but even just black, when you put the salt in it, it cuts down on that bitterness. And it's incredible, like absolutely incredible. And when you said you added cloves, I started experimenting. So like if you add, because you added some other spice too.
Cinnamon
Wasn't
and cloves.
There one other one though that you had?
Turmeric.
No, yeah, turmeric's going to be that one's a little too strong. I use that for medicinal purposes or to cook with, but I started experiment with the Indian spices. So I would put into because I use an automatic coffee maker. So I would put a little bit of salt. Sorry. Wait, do I got a little something right here on my face? So I would use I would put salt in there, and then I would put, sometimes I would put, coriander, or sometimes I would put cumin in there. But then garam masala is like a combination of a whole bunch of spices, including cloves. And it gives it a nice little, I mean, that's what's in here right now. I have it in here, but it's pretty mild.
I do have to try it. Okay, Carmen, good morning, Carmen Nieves, and Erica.
Hola, hola.
So that is wonderful. I hope I got everybody. If not, just say.
And Carmen, I sent you a message, but I didn't check my instant message. So headshot, lovey, and definitely let us know if you're going to be doing that thing, because I'm putting together all the stuff. My anal retentive self likes to get a month ahead, and actually even more than that, because we have so many people scheduled all the way through August as guests. So it just makes it easier on me to get everything ahead. And I know Carmen can appreciate that, because Carmen's very organized, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. I like to keep organized friends around me. It's very inspirational. Hello, Nancy Harding. Good morning.
I can't see squat, and so we're just trying to wing this a little bit. So we're a little out of sorts, just because we're trying to get used to.
You're a D.
Isn't that sad? At those old lady eyes. But I just want to make sure that we get shout outs to everybody. So I don't think, there's Tiffany and Janet I missed. Okay. So I have the intention. Just, you know what, while I'm doing that, one of the last couple of ones, just remind them about Friday, and then remind them about what we do.
Yes, Friday is our Viva Moms After Dark from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. So Word of Mom Radio, Word of Mom Blog Radio.
Blog Talk Radio, Word of Mom.
There
Radio.
You go. But, if you want to speak on that, or, we have the phone number. I think we post it when we post the ad. Let's just participate. And it's going to be good because all those Friday conversations are awesome. And let's do this. Let's grow together. That has been something I've been writing a lot. Let's grow together. And I believe that everybody, with all our differences, all our different sabores and how we like things done, it makes for a beautiful, beautiful forest that is so rich in every aspect, in all kinds of foods and air and shelter. So I think that's the kind of tribe. It's growing together in all our different endeavors. And let's make it happen. All of us together.
I apologize if I'm spelling people's names wrong because I can't see. That's so terrible. Isn't that terrible? Yes. So
where are your glasses?
They're upstairs and I don't want to go all the way upstairs and get them.
Yeah, so this Friday, Viva Moms After Dark from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's all just gather and talk. I don't know what our subject's going to be about.
Well, I know we have 2 guests. I got to just double check because I have it all written down, but I know we have 2 guests that are coming on. And so the guest spots are 10:20 to 11. I'm sorry, 10:20 to 10:50, and then we have an 11 to 11:30. Guests are allowed to stay on though if they want to hang out and just be part of the conversation. You are totally welcome to call in, but if you're going to call in as an extra person, you can call in, but just because we have other guests there that are already scheduled, it's more like if you have a question or if you have a comment you want to make, you just want to say how wonderful we are and how wonderful the show is. That's always wonderful to have. Yeah. And if you want to be a guest, if you want to be a guest on the Viva page, if you want to be a guest on Viva, or if you want to be a guest on the night show, always reach out to us. Like, we've had an amazing amount of outpouring from people that want to get on the show, to the point of where we're literally scheduling out into August for this.
That's awesome.
Yes. So, it's really, really incredible. And we have so many diverse types of people coming on, and we're going to have to make room because we do have a lot of people that we've had on that we want to repeat, but they're like, the spots are filling up so fast. So, we have to sort of make room and maybe do 2 special accommodations on a Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's what we're about. We're going to grow together. Viva Cafe con Leche was born from a thought from Carmen Nieves. And Carmen Nieves, it feels really good to podcast together because we can actually look at each other, and I can pinch her. So
and I could smack her when she keeps talking.
That's like the awesome part. But it was born from a thought in someone's mind who knows I am such a coffee connoisseur. And she's like, I think you need to be doing this. And then I said, and I know exactly who. And it was born right in, like, the idea of it was born in the midst of quarantine.
Yes. Yep.
And then we had a schedule going forward, and we never skipped the beat, no matter what it was we were going through.
Just that one day you were sick, and
because I was sick,
and she tried though. Boy, she literally was like, "I can't do it." That's how you called you.
Yeah, sounding like a man who hasn't spoken in years. And so there's really, there's nothing that is impossible. And if it doesn't work out the way you wanted it, the main thing is that we tried it and we worked towards it, because not everything is everything, right? So we got to always keep that in mind. But the possibilities of trying to get there, even though the forces of nature say no, then you can say, okay, I did my best. I worked it all the way to here. But growing together is just that. So Tuesdays, we'll always make special things, like when Jeffrey wins this contest. Right?
We have to we're going to have to put Jeffrey a link out there for Michelle, and she's going to film with Jeffrey. Yes. Oh my God, that's a great idea.
So don't think that Thursdays are only slot. I think March was marvelous and magical that we had Tuesday and Thursday guest the whole month of March. I think that was beautiful. That was so empowering for me. March, a very difficult month for me. It was Eric's 4-year anniversary that he transitioned into the next realm. And 3 days later, on his 4th year, my mother transitioned in the same bedroom. So, but it's still so beautiful, because when you really know in your soul that they transition to a better place and everything's good, because what did life ask death? Why do people love me and hate you so much? And death said, because you are a beautiful lie and I am the ugly truth. And it's really not ugly, right? Because we know we're born to die. So the whole transition, we're always trying to make transitions in our lives. Why is it so hard to accept the one that we can't do nothing about?
That actually would be a really good show, because I remember when I was in college, my friend and roommate, she was psych major, and there was a class that she had to take called Death and Dying. And it was interesting because she had not really experienced a lot of death in her family because she didn't have a really big family and they weren't very old. Me, on the other hand, I have a huge Italian family. Well, they've dwindled down quite a bit over the years, but I was going to wakes and funerals as long as I could remember. And to me, it was just a party, because people, Italians, they just, and I think Puerto Ricans are the same way. You go to the wake and then you go to the funeral, and then afterwards it's like you expect the party. It's like whether you're going to go to a place or you're going to have it at the house. And so to me, that's my understanding of it. And it's not saying that they're not.
It's a celebration.
Exactly.
We're going home.
Right. And but it was such a part of my life that I didn't really think twice about it. So when she herself, my friend, had to deal with death years later as an adult, it really hit her hard because she wasn't used to it. And I think that might not be a bad conversation, because I think there's so much shit that comes up when somebody dies. There's a lot of sour grapes, which I understand, but there's also a lot of fakeness. There's a lot of interesting emotions come up when people die. I'm going to get a little closer to you. How's that? I feel right.
Perfect. Bring it on.
Can you bite me? I hope you bite me. But anyway, right. So that would be a good.
It would be.
And now that we're saying this, if any of you have a topic that you want to go, it's really just Gladiator Guru and I are the ones who are always coming up with the topics, and we come up with some great topics. I got to give us credit. We all of a sudden something will pop in, and she'll text me, I'll text her, and then we'll come up with a title for it. And then even with the guests, but if you have something that we have yet to talk about, I don't know how the hell we would miss anything, because we've talked about a lot of stuff.
Or a different angle of what we spoke on.
Right, because we will always repeat. We've repeated some of the stuff that we have. So absolutely, if you know any, of any topic that you want us to cover, let us know. Just email us, vivacafeconleche2@gmail.com, and that's the number 2.
Or text us if you have our number or whatever. Right. But Liza says she would like to cover women and aging. Thank you, everybody. Yeah,
I think we have. No, either we have it coming up on the sheet, or it's. Hold on. But yeah, I know we did. We started to talk about aging. We talked about aging. We didn't talk specifically about women. We had what's her name on?
Yeah, sure.
No, Tasha.
Yeah,
Tasha Chimbala.
Yes.
Who, by the way, was a graduate from CCMT. Liza. She came on and was talking about aging. But yes, we can absolutely do one. But don't just send it to us in the comments, because it'll
follow up with an email.
Yes, please. For the love of God, please.
Carmen said to post a voting link for Jeffrey. Thank you, Desiree. Death is shocking. No matter who it is. I knew my husband was going to transition because he had ALS.
Oh, hold on a second. Michelle, can you post the voting link again? It would be easier if you did it as opposed to me fiddling around here and screwing her up while she's talking.
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and Desiree, that's exactly what we did. I did a whole celebration from the funeral, during the funeral, and it was the celebration of life. And I think that's what we have to do. But I lost my dad. I lost my husband, and I lost my mom, who, my sisters and I were talking, and we didn't have the best childhood. We didn't know what a warm embrace was, or to be told we're loved and that we're important and that we can be anything. And I think as you get older in life, you learn to just forgive, or as I'm learning now, to expel that thought of a wounded child that I carried from childhood into adulthood. And although I grew in all aspects of my life, that thought didn't. So we maintain that same thought of, oh, mommy didn't love us, that child's thought, and you bring it into adulthood, and no wonder why we're all so fucked up sometimes. So anyway, but then you learn to accept, and you learn to forgive yourself for holding on to things. And then you learn to just say, she was my mom and she taught us. And it is because of the way she was that we became who we are. And I think that you really have to just appreciate and accept what was and live in what is. And the pain is totally different. I just wanted to add that, totally different. So yeah. So, but what do? The life that we still have, we have to grow. We have to bloom like those flowers every spring that give us beauty in all through summer. And then they bid their farewell in fall. And then they just hibernate during winter. And then they pop up like slut magic again in April. And that's how we have to look at life, that everything has a season and there's a reason for it all. And just fill yourself with joy, and then and share it and spread it out. And those who don't accept it, that's okay. Because then you weed out the people from your tribe that you need to. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to talk about being politically correct, which I never am.
Incorrect.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's what it is. But you have
I have the intention. So the intention for today is today I will be me, filled with love, compassion, authenticity, and the courage to say what I believe. Today I will be me, filled with love, compassion, authenticity, and the courage to say what I believe.
I like that.
Thanks.
It's really good. My mantra is so funny. Today, same wording. Today, I have learned to feed my spirit and starve my ego. Today, I have learned to feed my spirit and starve my ego. Now, I learn this all the time, but I got to remind myself. But what do? You feed your spirit with everything you feel you need from outside stuff. You feed it with love. You feed it with security. You feed it with self-esteem. And then you starve all those doubts. I'm fat. I could never do anything right. You just starve that ego that makes you want to be everything you're not, and then makes you feel like you're nothing. So feed your spirit, mi gente, and feed it every morning with light and love and understanding for who we are and what we're going to be.
Fabulous. Wonderful. I have some quotes too. Did you happen to make quotes for today? There were some good, interesting quotes for being politically incorrect. So the reason we even had a conversation on this, because, so many things have come up since we've been doing the show. And, Gladiator Guru and I are the same age. So we grew up in a time where there was a lot of transition. There was a lot of political incorrectness, for sure. That was very insulting. But we've also saw a transition to people becoming what we believe to be too sensitive. Yes, there were things that needed to change, for sure. But then all of a sudden people are just a little too that way, and I grew up in a very comedic family, when I tell you my family was into comedy, like we would have dinner and we would eat dinner as a family. Such white suburbans we were, such white middle-class suburban people. So we would eat dinner and the TV would be off and all that stuff, but they would play records sometimes, and my father had a lot of comedy records, and I'm talking like old school. We're talking like Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, all those people, like Dean Martin. So all that age group, and so it was a lot of 60s and 70s comedy. And I grew up listening to this stuff, and of course they were very politically incorrect back then, but they all were. And all of that, it doesn't matter what color you were all politically incorrect and you were all making fun of each other. And they had this sort of interesting understanding where it wasn't meant to be insulting to the person. It was meant as like, I'm going to poke fun at you. I'm going to poke fun at myself. You poke fun at you poke fun at me. And And I grew up with that, and then as things started to shift, yes, things needed to shift.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think we sort of went a little too far. Like, I think we went from fixing situations to overly getting sensitive. So now it's like, you can't even joke. And what I think of is like again, I was raised with a lot of these comedy shows. So a perfect example of being politically incorrect is Blazing Saddles. The movie Blazing Saddles, which still shows, shows you how the comedy was back then, and nobody was spared in that movie. They made fun of every culture, every race, everything, in that movie. If you watch that movie, there's certain ones that stand out more, but if you watch even the subtleties, there are certain individual and groups that they go after, and it's everybody, like every single person. So we started to talk about this conversation. There used to be a show called, I think it's still on actually, but Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher.
Yes,
I used to love that show. And but we started to really talk about this, and so we wanted to have this conversation. We want to hear from all of you too. Oh, and Doc Hardy's in the house. Good morning, Doc Hardy. And Doc, we want to thank you. Doc is so excited to be on the show. That is what we're looking for. When we have people that are that excited, his spot is not until June, and he is already throwing it out there like crazy that he's coming up. So Doc, that's so
we appreciate
fantastic.
You.
Yes. And I have to actually, I don't think I even gave him his JPEG. He was just throwing up anything. So I have to give him his actual advertisement. So
that's awesome. And he says, I'm sorry, I'm going to be here for a while. Call me. I believe you still have my number. Blazing Saddles is the best movie of all time.
Archie Bunker is.
And All in the Family.
Yes.
Yeah, they were all like, I'll look at them now and I'm like, what the hell?
Yes, I almost cringe because we're trained that way now. We've been trained to say, okay, this is not okay, this is not okay. But they were innovative in that sense because they dealt with real stuff.
Yeah.
They dealt with real stuff. They weren't afraid to show that. Like Archie Bunker's a perfect example. He was an asshole. Like, there's no question. He was
on
mean.
The show.
He was an ass. Yes, in real life, he actually was so far
and
the opposite.
And who was he married to in real life? Wasn't he married to an African American?
No, I don't think he was. No, I know he wasn't. But he was so far from the character that he portrayed. But he was racist, but so was his neighbor who ended up having his other show, which was Moving On Up. Oh my God, what was the show? The Jeffersons. and so that's how they got their thing. And Jeffersons, they were both racist to each other. They both didn't like each other, So I have a quote, and this is what it was said in the description of the show. Politicians and diapers have one thing in common. They should both be changed regularly and for the same reason. And that is considered for some funny and for others politically incorrect to say something like that.
But what the hell is it? The word can't even say it, politically correct, first appeared in a Marxist-Leninist vocabulary, the Russian Revolution of 1917.
Wow.
Marxist-Leninist. So in the late 70s to early 80s, it was used wittily by liberal. This is what they say. And I have a friend who always refers to me as a liberal. By liberal politicians to refer to extremisms of some left-wing issues. So rhetoric over content, they say. I call it bullshit. I am not politically correct, no matter where I'm at, because I believe in being authentic and always being myself. And Carmen, back to you when you said, because I think this is important. Liza, I am so happy you reconnected with your mom. God has been so good to my sisters and I that he allowed us these last 2 years with her. But Carmen said, make sure you intentionally pour forward what we didn't get. I do. And that's why my granddaughter is on this morning and knows me so well. And I love to love. And that's what my mother taught, how to express it. And I've always expressed it. I don't care if I get it back. And I love.
I love too.
So, but thank you for that, Carmen, because that's something we fail to say a lot of times is, I know what it is. You know, people that grow up and they didn't have it, so they don't give it because nobody was there when I didn't have it. But then you have the people who didn't have, and they're the first ones to give the shirt off their backs, or they're the first ones to lend a helping hand wherever they can. And I think that's just beautiful, just being authentic and being yourself. And who this politically correctness was to like protect fuckers from doing what they were doing, or and it coming out to the light. Oh, you can't speak on that, it's not politically correct. That's all it was. It was, to me, it was just like a cover up for the truth to be spoken and people to be called out on their bullshit. Correct me if I'm wrong, mi gente, type of way. But that's how I look at this politically correctness, because what the hell?
Well, in the research that I was doing too, and that's so funny that you said that had to do with Marxism, because in the research I was doing, it said the same thing. It said that in countries where you are always keeping track of what's being said and how to say it and telling people how to say it, that is what communism is. And they were comparing like how sensitive the United States has become, where we are immediately ready to fight because of a comment that's made. And listen, there is a difference. And it is, I'll admit, it is not an easy line sometimes. You know, there is the point of becoming insulting and the point of being funny and being respectful. Actually, let's say it that way. It's being respectful. You could be mean and respectful. You could be funny and respectful, or you can be mean and disrespectful, or you could be funny and disrespectful. So that's really what it comes down to, is political correctness is about being respectful. You know, like, okay, so for instance, I'm Italian, right? So I have the right to make Italian jokes, right? So when when you tie the hands behind the back on an Italian, they're speechless, right? And if you tie one hand behind their back, they have a speech impediment, right? Okay, so I have a friend that told me a Jewish joke. It is applicable to every person that I've met, whether Puerto Rican or Italian, right? So this is a Jewish-based joke, but it can apply to anybody. So it says, how many Jewish grandmothers or mothers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer is none. Never mind. I'll just sit here in the dark. Don't worry about me. Nobody cares, right? So the guilt, right? So when we can look at those differences, and then, or we could look at the separations, you know, we're different religions, we're different cultures, but then we look at the similarities and we make fun of it. And then we do make fun of our differences a little bit, because we all have them that are silly. Like, remember back, and I'm thinking of this because it just came out again. So Eddie Murphy's Welcome to America.
Welcome to America.
So remember the original one? They show this one scene where we're all at the party at the parents' house, and the boyfriend of the girl, they sold the hair gel, right? And there's three people sitting on the couch, right? And they get up off the couch and they leave this gray, oily stain, right? Okay. And everybody thought that was funny because it wasn't an untruth. I mean, it's a legitimate thing, but it's different coming from an individual who it's an African-American, you know, more African-American based film. If a white film did it, like if a more was more predominantly white, would it become politically incorrect to say that or to show that? Right. So, and I hate that part, because I love both. I love the fact that we can all make fun of ourselves. You know, I've been around enough Puerto Ricans to know what Puerto Rican time means. Right. Are you on Puerto Rican time?
That's me.
You know, and it's meant as, it's not meant insulting. It's meant as a realization that, yeah, sometimes, is it all Puerto Ricans that are late? No. Is it our Italians or any other culture not late? They're all late. Everybody's late. Everybody has their own schedule. That's right. But listen, you get to know people. And so I knew enough friends and even family members for a while that I would tell them a different time. If I knew the party was starting at 3, I would tell them it started at 1 so that they would get there on time, you know? So, but it was just the reality of it. So anyway, you're going to love this quote. I've never thought of it consciously. I say exactly what I think, and very often it's totally politically incorrect. I get always chastised for it, so it's not shtick, but I think I'm the one who says the emperor has no clothes, and that's by Joan Rivers.
Right? Oh, I loved her.
Yeah, she was insulting, and she was outspoken. She was like that till the last of her breath. She was like that. Right?
And you have to be, because, you know, if you're going to be walking around with a chest full of hats just to appease everybody you're standing in front of and you're speaking with. So where's the authenticity? Where is the differences that makes us a whole? If everybody's trying to not offend everybody, and there's people that get offended because the wind brushed against their cheek, and what are we supposed to do about it? So I can't worry about that. I got to worry about myself being kind and being understanding wherever I stand, and would then speak my truth. And when you do that, you're not offensive, you're not disrespectful. But I think, you know, and I had to learn that the hard way for many years. So then when you come to a place and you can look back and you're like, damn, I was very rough around the edges. But then, you know what? So then I consider myself a priceless diamond, because it took a lot of fucking years to smooth my edges. So I'm like sparkling all the time, right? So
I can't stand you. You're so sparkly.
But I think that to be authentic and, you know, not be rigid with your beliefs, I think that we need, you know, to shift and flow wherever we're at, and what's that word I want to use? Not totally surrender who you are to fit in, but there are certain circumstances and certain places and people that you just got to sit back and go, in your brain, and just sit there and observe.
Yes, I was just gonna ask you that, actually. So it's best sometimes to just stay quiet, like to just be, you know, don't say anything, don't speak. It's not being inauthentic. You're just not stating, you know, what, because I think that's the part of the problem too, is like we're in a society that everybody has to get the last word. Everybody has to say what they have to say. Sometimes it's just better to not say anything. And I think that the more authentic you are, this is a good lesson for me for the shit that I've been going through lately.
It is.
But if you are authentic and to yourself, and you know who you are, and like, I know that I am not, that's not me. I am not a person who takes like advantage of somebody's race or religion. I love to find humor in stuff. And I make fun of myself, and I, you know, it's the same thing, but I have love for anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter what their background is, you know? So for somebody to turn around and say to me, oh, well, you know, you said this and you're racist and you're blah, blah, blah. They don't know me. They don't know me at all, because that's not me. Mm-hmm. That's not me at all. Like I think about, like, I cringe with this. Okay. When somebody gets pissed off at somebody else, they immediately, so it's one thing to say, oh God, you know, I'm so pissed off at her. She's this, you know, or she did, this person's like this. But then when you start bringing out their color, their race, their religion in that sentence, oh, that fucking blah, blah, blah. That's when it's not, I mean, that's where I don't put that out there. It's like, listen, I said this once before on the show, actually many times. An asshole is an asshole. There's no racist prejudice, nothing. You know, you could be any race, any religion, any person, and be an asshole, douchebag, whatever you want to call it. So I don't have to call out somebody's race or this. That's the part that fumes me, is when somebody gets so mad that they have to pull that out. And it's just like that to me, then that's when you step over. That's not me. I love making fun of, you know, like, I've been around, again, like, Italians are loud. I will tell you, being in a party with Italians, but Puerto Ricans, they definitely are louder. I mean, I've been in enough Puerto Rican groups to where they're just, and it's conversation. You know, I'll be like talking like this, and they'll be I'll be like, I know, I'm right here.
Frankie told me yesterday, why do you listen to yourself? Do you hear yourself talk? And I'm like, what do you mean?
He is on the quieter side.
He said,
he is.
You are so damn loud. And he was in his room, and I didn't realize it, but I'm told that all the time. But going back to what you say, and there's a difference, because Puerto Ricans, we can have a conversation. And my husband, who was African American, would tell me, "You're racist," when we first met. And I'm like, what did I say? And this is it. Puerto Ricans, we are a rainbow of color. We come in all shapes, sizes, and shades. And like I have a blonde hair, blue eyed cousin who was born and raised in Puerto Rico. And then I have a green eyed, redhead, freckle faced cousin, also born and raised in Puerto Rico. And then I have brothers that look like they're straight out of the Congo. So when we're talking about somebody, right? When I'm having a conversation and I'm talking about Maria. Well, guess who I ran into yesterday? Maria. Which Maria? Maria la Negra.
Right.
Maria la Gringa. Maria. The one with the big ass.
Maria la
the one that, yeah. So
the one with the big ass.
Yeah. So because the person I'm speaking to knows what the Marias I'm describing. So then all I have to say is certain things, and then vice versa. They have to tell me that.
Lori the big ass. So, badass Buddha the big ass. I wouldn't mind. I have big hips, but I don't have a big ass. But
so and then at the beginning, my husband was like, "You're racist." I said, "I have an Italian mother, a Puerto Rican father, and I'm married to a black man. You're calling me racist? Like, what the hell?" And that was our rhetoric all the time. But in your regard, you're saying it like if somebody is saying something negative.
Yeah.
But then if somebody outside of my Puerto Ricanness, like my husband,
heard you.
And I'm describing Maria la Negra, the one with the little fro, or Maria, Maria la Gringa with the blue eyes. And so he thought that was some form of racism, but it's not. Look at Iris said, "Bucktooth Billy." Yeah. So I mean, it all depends where you're at and who you are, and not saying it in a derogative way, because we can say things like that with love, and it's understanded because that's just who we are. And then you can say things with hatred.
Yes.
And yeah.
But I think that's the line that I think where we get sensitive is that when it's descriptive, and then you're called out being racist, or being prejudiced or whatever, versus more of the negative thing. And it's, and we all do it. I think that I have a cousin. So again, like I'm telling you, when I say my family's Italian, like we're both sides, like my grandparents, all four off the boat, literally like 3 out of the 4 were the typical immigrant story, came on the steamboat, passed, registered at Ellis Island, like that's like seriously like storybook stuff. And I naturally, like I have one cousin, he's a total Guido. And he is, and I would say it to his face, but he is. And Guido can be an insulting thing, but
or a term of endearment.
In his case, it's insulting because he's an asshole. But he's I mean, I respect him because he's my cousin, but he can be a jerk, but he looks the part, right? And so like it's sometimes I'm looking at him going, is he coming out of like Saturday Night Fever, or whatever. But so I could say that. Is it insulting? I don't think so. And maybe some other person who's like really Italian. And when I say Italian, I'm talking Italian American. They'll be like, "Oh, that's, how are you to say that?" Well, if I say I'm Italian, that negates that. Oh, well, that's okay. Like you grew up in the projects. So your rhetoric is going to be a little bit different because you grew up with a certain way of, like, people spoke a certain way and didn't have a problem saying certain things. I grew up in Whitelandia. I grew up in, suburban, whatever. And so you'll say something, and like when we had not Doc Carter, when we had Byron on. So, Margie's known, Gladiator Guru has known Byron for years. They have this beautiful relationship and they're such good friends. And the both of them can banter back and forth with absolutely zero insult because they both know who they are. They're both authentic and they know it's coming with love. And you said something in the conversation and you threw out a word and I was just like, oh, but you guys just kept talking and I was just, and it was nice because I know your relationship with them. I know your background. It's something that's just a word that's said, but other people watching could turn around and be like, oh, who is she to say something like that? It wasn't meant as an insult. It was meant as a part of a conversation. It was a word that's just used as like, let me tell you something, whatever, so-and-so. So I think we're sensitive in the sense that we've lost the ability to identify what the insult is, when it's insulting or disrespectful versus just a description or endearing. So the question is, how do we fix that? Is it fixable?
I think it is. People got to tighten up. I think it's cultivating a weak society where everything is so offensive. I can't believe you said that. Well, get over it. I did. If I could go back and relive a whole different thing, I would never change it, because growing up in Father Panic with my very dark-skinned Indian-looking father and my very white, light hair mother, we had to fight all the time until we earned our respects. We earned those stripes. We had those badges of honor. But, I think that I wouldn't give it up, because it makes you see what life is really about. And life is really about speaking your truth, and your truth. The truth isn't always pretty. It's ugly and it can offend people, but it's yours. And if you start owning who the hell you are and are happy with the person you have cultivated, then I think just, you know what? You flow with the wind, and you know where you are. And sometimes you don't need to speak. And sometimes you need to check a motherfucker in a heartbeat, but it's not all the time, because you learn that not every battle needs your attention. And you're just, it's just a fleeting visit that you're dealing with at that moment. So you're not going to go back there anymore. So why am I going to give them my beautiful energy that I have been, allowing to bloom beautifully for me? So now I'm just going to give it away because I have an opinion. And I've learned that Liza, spic is SPIC. And how I learned it many years ago, you just turn things around, because, like I said, my brothers are all very dark. We came out light, my sister and I, because my mother's was the predominant one. So we're very light skinned like her. But spic, when people are like, oh, you're spic? Yes, I'm a Spanish person in control. And that's why you upset. That's your issue, not mine.
You redefine it.
Just like Hispanic. I don't like to be labeled Hispanic nor a minority. Why? And then when people are like, but you are Hispanic. Yeah, I am Hispanic because the white man panics. No, and I'm educating myself. Now that could be labeled as politically incorrect. You can put your opinions on there, but it's just who I am. And those who know me know I don't go by any of those labels. I am a proud person of color. I am proud of my cultures, both the Italian and the Puerto Rican, sprinkled with a bit of Portuguese. And you know what? We are who we are. It's who we cultivate ourselves to be as adults. I'm Margarita Marie Rodriguez and Chapman. So it's like, my name is all Puerto Rican. Like, why the hell you name me Margarita with Rodriguez? That's 18 letters I had to learn how to spell since kindergarten, right? So don't tell me I'm not a resilient person. And then you give me a middle name. So it's like, that was all. But you deal with it and you learn to love yourself. Could have been
like a really American name.
Janet. Like, Janet has no middle name.
Margarita Pam.
So it
could have been like that. What's your middle name again?
Marie.
Okay.
So my mom's middle name. That's the Italian side. So anyway, so it's like, you know what?
So Janet has no middle name.
Janet has no middle name. Janet Ramirez. So then you got
she was the last one your mother just gave up. Just Janet. That's it. We're not even gonna finish it.
My oldest sister, she's named after my maternal grandmother. So her name is Constance Marie Rodriguez. I'm named after my paternal grandmother, which is Margarita, not Margarita, mi gente. Margarita Marie Rodriguez. And then Jan is like, oh, fuck it. Jan, I'm tired. I didn't even know I was pregnant with you. She was a preemie. She's just Janet. But you got to love Janet. She's a baby. She's the anchor to us. I only corrected you, Liza, not for anything. It's just because of how they broke it down. Spanish person in control. We can take any negative.
She wasn't insult. She wasn't saying you were spelling things wrong. She was saying she was making it. This is how you respell it to make it your own. Come on now. She has the love for you.
And the thing is that, And all that goes to teach you is that there's a solution to every problem, whether it's you speaking yourself. This politically correctness that was made by, people started using it in the 70s in colleges to hide all their fuck ups. We don't do that. We keep it real. I made a mistake. I'm like, oh my God, look what I did. How do we fix it? And then we fix it. You can't push it under the rug anymore. And I think that being Eartha Kitt, exactly. Eartha Kitt said it best. Why do I need to compromise myself? I do not compromise myself for anything. I was so bloated yesterday. I felt like a 500-pound person. I'm walking in Walmart. I felt like I had 2 balloons between my thighs. I'm like, what? I literally lifted my shirt. I was with my cousin Irita, and I said, oh my God, look at my thighs. I feel like they have balloons. And she just looked at me like, she wanted to tell me, just shut the hell up and help me finish finding this. And the thing is, we feel that way, but you don't compromise who you are. You are who you are until your last breath. So set up your boundaries, love yourself, be kind to everyone you meet, carry gratitude in your heart, and speak your mind. If someone's offending you, boom, cut them at the knees. Let them know, I don't tolerate that. Doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful in any way, but just don't get disrespected and don't compromise. Don't compromise. Don't compromise.
Yeah. Don't compromise. What she said.
Because you can't. You're the only person. And guess what? When you start compromising who you are to appease everyone around you, who are the little ones watching you?
I think that's and again, it's all about the meaning behind what you're saying. It's the respect thing. It really is. It's about the respect thing, because we're always so careful about like tiptoeing. Sometimes, tiptoeing gets annoying after a while. It's like, oh my God, should I say this? Should I not say this? Is that okay? There was one time where we were on and I said something and all I thought was, oh my God, what I said was just, people are going to twist it around, to the point where we got off the show and I was like a little panicked about it. And she kept saying to me, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm like, no, it was bad because, I said this and it wasn't, and it was so unnecessary for me to get that worked up over something. Again, I know who I am, but I think the hard part though, Gladiator Guru, is especially though, when you do know who you are, when people slander you to try to make it look like you are, they're saying that you're somebody else. And even as authentic as you can be, there's always somebody that's going to turn around and question it, and say, oh, well, maybe she's really not like that. Like, good example of it is Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres, we still to this day don't know who the hell Ellen, we don't know, because she came across as being this beautiful spirit.
Not if you watched her show, because I would always watch her show and say, she doesn't look at how she's looking at them. Like, there was always, sometimes you could see like,
right, but
get off my stage already. And then she'd be like, yay. So you could see it. She wore her emotions on her face.
So you notice that. For other people, they might not have noticed. And to this day, we still kind of don't know what the verdict, because even people came on to side with her, famous people from all different backgrounds.
I love her. I don't care what they say about her.
So they were like, she's not like that. I don't understand. So was it a difference in, personality differences for certain people? It could be. That's just it. How about that? That's another element of being politically incorrect. Sometimes when you get two people that just don't jive, it's just their energies, their personality, but it then becomes a politically incorrect thing. So that person doesn't like me because I'm this or I'm that. And that's not necessarily the case. Why don't we just call it what it is? I don't like you because you're a jerk or an asshole, and that's it. And you don't like me because I'm an asshole that you believe me to be. But it has nothing to do with necessarily specific things about your religion or your political affiliations. That's another one. People get so riled up about political stuff, and when we're talking about politically incorrect, that's the mother load of politically incorrect, is like, oh, well, you can't say this and don't call them that, but then they can call themselves this and it's okay. And it's like, you're ass backwards half the time. You don't know what you can say, what you can't say. And again, it's like you're always walking on eggshells, and that's not fair. That's not okay.
But see, that's when you put too much worry into it. If you are, Liza said that she told her husband's pastor one day that he puts his pants on one leg at a time, like she does, because he said something that was outright ridiculous. And you know what? Kudos to you. And she said, power of pussy. So yes. And I think that
She loves that one.
when you were, I can be very offensive, especially when I'm sharing something and someone's like right away llevándome la contraria, you know, contradicting what I'm saying, and then I'm like, I'm like, you know, I'm Mufasa in that moment, you know, and I'm coming for you. But I don't like really worry. Like if I say what I say when I say it. So if somebody comes back and says, I heard you said this, and I say, well, be specific, because I said a lot of things, you know, but I'm not going to own shit that I didn't say, because I say a lot of things. And I think that, you know what, whatever's going on with Ellen, she's like letting it flow. You can't argue everything. And if you know who you are by feeding your spirit, then it, you know, you do get offended, because you it took a lifetime for you to build your character, to find out who you were, and to be stable in it, and to set those boundaries. And then somebody to come and like teeter-totter you off of your pedestal that you put yourself on. Not that you're above anybody else, but you worked hard to get there. We all work hard to get somewhere.
Right.
So I think sometimes it's not even worth the fight. Sometimes let them have what they have, because your energy is glowing. You know who you are. You don't need other people's approval. And not everybody's going to like you. And that goes to past live encounters when you meet somebody and off rip, like they don't even know me. Why they don't like me? Again, we're all spirits living in a human body. Feed your spirit. Feed your spirit so that it's fully armored by the grace of God every day when you get up, and nothing can pierce you. It'll hurt your feelings. It'll make you think for a minute, like, why is this happening? But it's not going to wound you to where you're going to be incapable of getting up and being magical because of what someone or a group of someone's said about you. And I think that's what it is. Politically correct. Be true to who you are. Speak truth. Speak knowledge. Don't just say, oh, I read a line that says, starve my ego, but you forgot to read the part that says, feed your spirit. So you're going to be walking around where I got to starve my ego. I got to starve my ego. But then what are you feeding yourself? So it's about knowing the whole story. It's about putting in your, what's that word I'm looking for? Is it worth my time? Should I validate this? No, because if you don't compromise who you are, then you yourself just standing there emanates a conversation of, this is who I am, and I'm not compromising for you. Hear my stomach? For you or anybody else. So I just think, you know what? Be true to who you are, and stand up for yourself. And your partner's not going to always agree, and your children are going to look at you like you're embarrassing them, like mine did all their whole childhood. So it's just be who you are, and in that you're being correct to you, and your values and your moral compass is never going to lead you astray.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Yes. And in the end, you know, we have to educate people. We're always doing that. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, Gladiator Guru and I are coaches and we're teachers, and that is our business. But all of you out there, like whether you're a coach or not, we are all teachers. We are all, whether we're teaching our children, our grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whether we're teaching siblings, friends, whatever, just public in general. Like, it is important for us to show that you need to be who you are. And so if you are questioning yourself, then you have to sit back and rethink who you are. Because if somebody sits there and calls you out and says, oh, well, you said this and blah, 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 and you must be this. And if you step back and say, no, that's not right, you know, like that's not me, then you're there. But if you start to think, oh my God, did I say that wrong? Did I quit? That means that you really do have to, look at
your foundation isn't stable.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you, from somebody who's been transforming her life for the last 5.5 years, you will always be rocked, even as you build your foundation. There will always be somebody that comes back, whether it's from your past or something like that, that will chip away a little bit at the foundation if you allow it, because you didn't create such a strong foundation as you thought. So it's relearning and it's repatching, and then just keep building forward. And that's where the political incorrectness is. What you're saying, if you say, oh my God, did I offend somebody? Was that problematic? Just think about it. First of all, I think that if you are a kind-hearted person and compassionate, very little comes out of your mouth that would be considered overall insulting to people. There's always somebody, like you said, there's always somebody that's not going to agree with you. And there's always somebody that's not going to like what you said, because there are always people that are overly sensitive. And most of the time, people who are overly sensitive, it's their own shit. It is their own stuff. And they don't want to face it. So they come back at you. How dare you say that? And you're like, what did I say? Why was that bothersome to you? It's if you could just let it roll off you'd be like, whatever, they could say whatever they want. It means nothing. What's that expression? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But we, we don't want to make light of, yes, shit needed to change over the last 3-4 decades. Absolutely. And it has. But have we become so sensitive that we can't even have fun with each other? And one way to determine this is to look at some of these shows that are considered politically incorrect. Like, take over this week or this weekend, go look back at the Jeffersons or Archie Bunker's Place, or not Archie, but the All in the Family. Look at Blazing Saddles. Look at all these old shows that just poked fun. The old roasts, like the Dean Martin roasts, and all the old school roasts, not the new roasts. They suck. They're just downright insulting and gross. But the old school, they used to just pick at each other on purpose, and it was just it was meant for fun. You could see the love in there. But it's good to look at these and then say, oh, okay, was that over the top? Was that okay to do? Am I especially Blazing Saddles is the epitome to that. I'm telling you, because that one, they make fun of every single person there. And the interesting thing is, while that one gets called out a lot on being very politically incorrect towards African Americans, the one thing that you have to really pay attention to is the hero of that story and the main character, the strength, the protagonist of that story was an African American sheriff who was smarter than everybody else in the town of white people, So anyway, but that's how we have to take a step back and really not overly think about what we want to say, but say what's true to us, but come from a place of love and compassion.
And speak with substance. Don't just speak to fill a void. And that's where a lot of the mistakes are made. If you need assistance, read a book, read a newspaper. The newspaper is written at a 5th grade level so that everybody can read it, but enhance your vocabulary, because you don't have to engage. And thank you, Doc Cardi, for agreeing with me. I don't need to show up to every battle. And when people are so quick to criticize, my response is always we're talking about my issues or yours.
Yes.
Yep. And because then that stops them cold, and not a lot of words are said, and you don't end up bruising them more, because everybody's going through something. So you don't have to just come out at them. Sometimes just walk away. And I've been doing that, and it just feels so good now. And Jonathan says, love you two are together.
I know.
I think that stand in your truth. If you're still trying to figure out who you are, then do that soul searching and continue to inquire within. Cultivate that self-esteem and that self-love. And you can go into any battle and say, oh, I'm in the wrong one, and walk out and make your exit. Wow. Show up for you in all your beauty and in all your understanding. And then you can say, no, I better not. I'm going to go home and Netflix it. And that's so totally okay. So, because it's called self-love and self-understanding and being who you are. And if you don't like something, you don't like it. I tell people, I respect your decision to get vaccinated, respect mine's not to. And I end it there. Other times I would be trying to prove a point, and it's not worthy. No, I know who I am. It's not
worth it at all.
I know what I want for my life. I am more of a holistic self-healer. So I know what I want and what I don't want. And I think that to avoid all this politicalness about what is right and what is wrong, that's not my war. That's not my battle. You know what? It's not even my dance. I dance salsa. I don't dance that.
I want to say shout out to Maritza Figueroa is on. She says best shows ever, and thank you for that, Maritza. Linda McBee says trauma that we bury inside ourselves causes health issues. Yes,
Absolutely.
so good segue because we are out of time. We could keep freaking talking, right? I don't know about you,
Maritza,
but
call me.
I could be on for like another hour hanging out with you talking to the
I
child.
know. Why? It's already at 9?
Yeah, look at the time already. We're already 5 minutes over. So so Linda McBee is going to be on our Thursday show. She's going to be talking about internalizing trauma and what that does to the body, and she's going to share her amazing story and what she does. So we're very excited about that. And listen, all of you tribe members, please, go on to if you're watching through Facebook, go onto the Facebook events page and scroll and see what's coming up. Now that we actually I'm going to start putting up the rest of the, I put up April, but we're going to start putting up May and June, like all into the months. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to see what's coming up. And it's so much more fun when you're on live, but we're totally fine if you can't make the live. We get that and just watch it at another time, but it's really good stuff. So yes, we're going to have Linda McBee on, and then
I can't wait because Linda, that's going to be a phenomenal show. So please make sure that you set your notifications. I always want to say your vibrations. So excuse me if I ever slip and say that, but set your notifications because I myself suffered physically for something that when my dad died, I didn't cry for 2 years, and that affected me physically. So this show, I mean, it could be you losing your nail, but it's something that you're not dealing with inside. And again, let's cultivate self-esteem, self-love, self-compassion, and be ready for Linda McBee on Thursday. Yes, I cannot wait.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you, mi gente, for coming on and sharing. I love you all. We love you all. So I'm not going to speak for you. You be politically correct with your own shit.
We love the banter, and we really we talk about it all the time, and you guys have become more vocal than ever, and we love it. So we love all the comments and stuff. So and also don't forget, we started adding information onto the description of the videos, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, and there to get in touch with us to schedule a free 30-minute session. We are both coaches. We coach differently, but in the end, it's the same. It's to create, to help you become your authentic self, to love yourself, and to just show the fucking world your power. We need it. We need the change in the world. We need big change, which means we have to start with ourselves. And so if you ever want to work with either of us, that's how you can reach us. If not, just direct message us. But don't be afraid to do so. It's 30-minute free consultation. And you could see if it'll work, and we make shit happen. So please, feel free to reach out to us. And that's it. So we're going to see you 3 times, or you're going to hear us 3 times this week: today, Thursday, and Friday night. And then we're going to do the Clubhouse. We were supposed to do Clubhouse yesterday, but Gladiator Guru was helping me with something, so we couldn't do the Clubhouse yesterday, but we're going to start doing Clubhouse on Monday. And I guess that's it, right?
That's it. And Liza, you know what, Liza? I haven't even met you yet, but I'm going to tell you, I love you. Maritza, we love you. I'm so happy you made it on today.
Yes, Maritza.
But you know what? Let me tell you something. The Power of Pussy was my baby since 2012, believe it or not. My mission statement was written a year later, and when I started the art. And for you to have, picked up that and own it and love it.
Yes.
It's just, you know what? It's so powerful. And that's, people who are powerfully in love with themselves will appreciate the power of pussy without looking at it with their nose down. And again, see, I didn't care who got offended because I'm speaking from mine. But you know what?
Gesture,
yes.
Power.
So
I don't know. Power of vagina.
I just go like this.
Pussy.
So go ahead, say your goodbyes.
All right, you guys, we will see you all Thursday morning. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Ah, we're together. Oh,
You see?
love this woman. Mwah.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.